I did.
So you wake up Tuesday, September 11th. What do you remember about that morning?
Let me get focused. I was sitting in the cabin. Tom was back out on the after deck, and we were having our coffee and stuff. And I had the radio on. I was listening to Imus, I think. And he was kind of mumbling along and then saying something about, what's this about a small plane or something hitting the trade towers, because that's what they thought it was at first. And then we were listening, and then they talked about the airliners. And then I said to Tom, I said, can you see the trade towers from here? And he said, yeah, we had to go out on the end of the dock, and then we could see it. We could. I remember I saw the second plane turn around and saw the second plane hit the South Tower. So a big explosion, fuel and stuff come out the side of the building. That was weird. I didn't see him go down.
You were inside the boat, or
no? I was up talking to Peggy, I think, on the telephone.
Up
just
up outside the marina somewhere?
Yeah, I did. Well, got up to a payphone.
Were you telling her what? Just checking in with her? Or you telling her what you saw?
Yeah, talking about what I'd seen and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And we were there. We were okay. It was weird.
When did you become aware that the towers both collapsed?
After the phone call, came back, and I think they'd gone down, and Tom told me that it collapsed.
Yeah. And do you remember... sorry. You remember what you were, what your thoughts were, what emotions you had about what you were witnessing?
I don't really recall. I didn't actually see it.
Well, you were witness to part of it, and you were very close to ground zero.
Well, we did see the second plane going. I did see that. And it was, I guess it was after that I went up to the phone. I don't know why I didn't have this at the time or whatever.
Maybe it was a cell phone signal thing. You went up a little higher, got better signal.
It's funny. I just thought of that, but I'd gone up to a telephone.
Yeah.
And called Peggy. I guess it was. We were talking about what had gone on, and then while we were talking, the buildings came down.
Do you remember what you all did the rest of the day?
No, not really.
Do you remember trying to make any other calls?
No. It's funny. I wonder why I didn't have the cell phone then.
I'm just curious because, from my memory, people were having a hard time making phone calls.
Yes.
In the aftermath.
That's right.
And I was up in Newport, Rhode Island, and we had everybody was brought into the study hall.
Right.
I can't remember what it was called, but the big main hall in the old school building.
Right.
And then
study hall.
Some of us were brought into the game or break room. There was a big TV, and there I can't remember which came first, but I remember watching at least one of the towers collapse on live TV.
Huh.
And then, of course, there were students there who were from New York. And, I remember some of the students getting phone calls, being worried about their family, their parents. And I can't recall particularly if anybody lost a parent that day. Just to touch on the radio report you were hearing from IMUS, my friend Richard Grove at that moment was in traffic on the way to the Twin Towers. He was stuck in traffic. He was late for a meeting. He was delivering some documents to former colleagues who were sitting.
Fortunate to be held up
on a conference call, a global conference call up on the 97th, no 80. Now, forgive me. Wherever they were is where pretty much the first plane hit.
Wow.
Or maybe the second. Forgive me for fudging the details. Anybody, if you're not familiar with Richard's account, but it made me think of him. He was in a convertible. It's a beautiful day. He's running late. Not too worried. He doesn't work there anymore, but he was just trying to help out some friends.
Right.
And he hears from somebody else's vehicle, a Cessna or some small plane has hit the tower. And he looks up and he doesn't see anything. So it wasn't.
So he was right down there then.
He was right down there, and it wasn't until he saw explosions off to the left in a building on the other side of the street toward the Twin Towers that he said, "I need to get out of here."
Yeah.
And he got out of there. Wow. I think he went through the tunnel to his buddy's place in New Jersey, and then watched from there to see what was happening. So that, if I haven't told you all about his story, I'll have to either find a good recording or just talk you through it, because he used to work in the Twin Towers. He was fired earlier that summer for discovering some funny business going on with financial stuff. His company was contracted to Marsh & McLennan. And the offices there were where the first plane hit, I believe. And, there's this whole web of financial transactions that were triggered by the event occurring. And, a lifetime's worth of research that Rich and many of his colleagues have done to try and understand what happened that day and what propelled us into 20 years of, fighting this global war on terror. So, but I can understand, I suppose I wish I could try and trigger more of your firsthand memories from that day, but I can understand maybe you. Well, I'll just ask: Do you remember how long you stayed there before you headed south back to Maryland? How many days you were there?
I think I left that afternoon.
Really?
Yeah.
You got out of town.
Yeah.
Was there a lot of traffic?
No, but I remember driving down. I guess they went to the Holland Tunnel and then climbing up the roadway and looking back over where I'd been. I think I left that day.